Hello, everybody. Can anybody type in the chat? Let me know if you can hear me or give a thumbs up. Perfect. Cool. We'll give it a few minutes to just let people come in, see how many people we get to come in, and then we'll get started. Anybody do anything fun this weekend? I know this is kind of a weird conversation where you have one person talking and everybody else has to kind of chat, but yeah, still got a couple more minutes. Anybody dealing with allergies? The weather where I'm at has been kind of weird. All right, cool. We got a couple more people coming in. And luckily, it looks like I've worked with most of you guys. So I guess it's kind of nice to know, I guess, who most of you guys are. So this is, I guess, makes it helpful for me kind of understanding what people are here in terms of kind of how you guys operate your organizations differently. So just give it a few more minutes because it looks like we have a handful of people just kind of trickling in right now. I'll go ahead and get everything set up for you guys. And then we'll just kind of start. And I think we will go ahead and start. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. So this is a webinar on how to use the transfer module in the ERP. There's a variety of reasons you would use it for a variety of different reasons, but essentially all you're doing is moving inventory from one location to another location. So we'll just jump into this. Some of you guys may know some of this, but my name's Zach. I am an implementation consultant here at Blue Link. I've been on the team since May of last year. My experience is in distribution, convenience industry, so packaged food, beverage, general merchandise, things of that nature. Operating in a small business, kind of like all of you guys, we're just convenience industry. Purpose of the webinar is to teach you guys how the inventory transfer works and how to use it within your organization. There's a couple different, I've seen this being used in different ways by a handful of different customers. What you guys are going to see is a live demo of how the inventory transfer works, how the inventory moves from one location to another, and how you treat it kind of like a intercompany purchase order is the way I would describe it. So understanding what this is. So we're just moving stock of a product code from one location to another. This could be a physical location that you are moving it from one to the other. Or it could be oh, I can't believe I thought I was sharing my screen with you guys. Give me 1 second, because it says I'm sharing my screen with you. Oh, there it is. Sorry. My apologies. If you guys would like to see the slide, my intro slide, there it is. This is actually a picture of me on my Alaska cruise. My wife was giving me a hard time about the lens I rented because it was ginormous, but I got some really cool photos. So sorry, I was talking without sharing. That just nature of being a remote worker is what that is. So what we're doing is we're moving stock between one location to another. This could be a physical warehouse. This could be a digital warehouse. This could be a variety of different warehouses. And I don't want you guys to think of this as literally just physically moving product from one location to another. You can use this in a variety of different ways, but that is the typical way of using transfers, moving it from one location to another, possibly putting it on a truck, but you could do this all in one warehouse as well. So this will help improve accuracy. It's going to help improve inventory, understanding where the inventory is. And a good way to think about this is imagine that you have a customer that you own, that you want to stock their product in a specific location within your warehouse, and you only want that customer's orders to get picked from that area. This is kind of where it can help small distributors if you guys organize your warehouse in a way in which that you want specific customers receiving products from specific locations. And you can take the inventory from one location and move it with just using a transfer. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my other screen and drag it over here so you guys can see it. And this is just our play data. I was working on this right before this webinar started. So I already have a transfer here. Very simply, just like everything else in the Blue Link system, on the left-hand menu under inventory, you're going to find inventory transfer. So this is where you would transfer inventory. Very easy to use window. You're going to click new transfer. When you click new transfer, it's going to ask you what location you want to ship from. So because we are logged in under this company, we get all of these locations. So we'll just do a simple one from Calgary, and then the to location. Where is this going to? You can actually use this intercompany as well. So in the event that your guys' organization has multiple companies within the Blue Link environment, you can actually do it between the companies. And then you would select the location for that other company where you want to transfer the inventory to. So in this case, we're just going to do Calgary to Ottawa. And we're going to go ahead and click create transfer. When we click transfer, it's going to create a transfer number, a status, just like you guys see in purchase orders and sales orders, the from location and the to location. All of these are how you can look up open or history transfers as well. So if you click the show history button, then you will be able to see all the history of the transfers. If you uncheck the box, then you are going to see all the open transfers that we have and the statuses that they are in. So this is the one we just created. So you can see up here, we have the from location, we have the to location. Because we have this set to new, if we wanted to change this, we could. We can change it to a different location. Now the status is what's going to kind of affect everything going forward. You're going to have to click on the status and you're going to see we have 4 statuses. We have new, open, in transit, and closed. Some of you may have worked with the production control. This operates in a very similar manner as production control. You're going to create a new, you're going to open it, and you're going to kind of reserve the inventory. You're going to put it in transit. When you put it in transit, the transfer cannot be adjusted or changed because the assumption is that you have confirmed that the inventory that you are transferring is correct, very much like you would verify a sales order. And then finally, you close the transfer. When you close the transfer, it will transfer the inventory from that location to that location for you. And we'll see this when we go and do this transfer. So our status is set to new. This is a great place for comments. Why is this transfer happening? The one thing I always tell all of our customers is comments are great because if you put them in, you don't have to remember why you were doing something. And then when somebody comes down the line and they say, hey, why did this get done? Well, if there's a comment in here, they don't have to ask that question. It's already there. So comments are great for these because whenever somebody pulls up the transfer, they're going to see the comments about the transfer. You're also going to have a date shipped. So when we ship it, the date will populate. You can also adjust the date if you want. The exchange rate's 1-to-1. Down here is where you're going to insert your product code. So you would just select the product code that you wish. We'll go with these master green widgets. You'll select your unit of measure just like the other screens, POs, sales orders, and then you'll put your quantity in. Put extended notes that you are wanting, and make sure that you have sufficient quantity in your inventory. When you select a product code, when you see this units on hand, this unit on hand is what's coming from the from location. That's the units on hand that are being displayed here. Now, there's going to be a couple different things depending on what industry you're in. You may have serial numbers. If you typically allocate serial numbers to your product codes in sales orders or purchase orders, you can do that here as well by clicking on serial numbers. Lot allocation, most of the customers that use this are definitely in pharma, but we do have some other customers that use lots. You allocate your lots the same way that you allocate your lots on all the other screens. Select your lot for your item, and then you have your allocated lots. Lastly, this is where it's kind of like a purchase order. You can add accruals to these transfers. So you can add any of your accruals or landed costs factors onto a transfer, meaning that you can keep track of this, all your accruals, and actually have a landed cost for your transfer, which makes it act more like a purchase order. If you want to click more info, you can look at more info on the item, just like on the other screens. Click more info. It will display the information about the item. And you can actually see, right, we're transferring from Ottawa. We currently have 50. We're transferring to Ottawa. That's currently at $24.95. So after we've made sure that all of our lot allocations, serial numbers, or accruals have been added to the transfer, what we can do is we can actually go click open. This helps reserve it reserves the inventory. Then when we're ready to put it into transit, we go ahead and click in transit. Now you can see it provides the date shipped when we change it to in transit. So now what you can do is you can actually print picking slips or packing slips. So say you needed to go pull the transfer before you would actually click new and then print the pick slip, go pick the order. If you want to print a packing slip, you can print a packing slip as well. You can print those to screen or to printer, and you can also see the transaction preview of what is being transferred. So when the transfer gets completed, and you verify that the transfer matches up and everything is accurate, what you're going to do is you're going to click closed transfer. When you click close transfer, you're going to get this screen. You have selected status, which will post this transfer. Posting the transfer will move inventory from the in-transit location to the destination. So one of the things I did not cover in System Master, there is a transfer location. That is the in-between location when the transfer is moved from our to in transit. It's the location that the inventory sits in called X transfer. And we're going to go take a look at this item after we click yes. Perfect. It's been posted. And if you were to post it with lots or serial numbers, all of those are going to be along with the item. So what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at this product code now. And first, we're going to go to purchases. Purchases, you're going to see we actually had one box of 50. This is going to be the display unit of measure, which is the each. So you can see this is our last transfer that we just did. Here is the price of the transfer. Obviously, if there was landed costs, they would be added up in the price and you would see the landed cost of those items. This is the quantity that was there, along with the other landed cost that was there. If we take a look at the locations, we can see that we increased this, I believe it was 24.9 something. And we increased it from there. You can see it in the purchases. And now the inventory is transferred from one location to the other. And that's how inventory transfer works. It's not that difficult to use. It can be very helpful for you guys. Let me get through. There's our demo. Let's go through these use cases, and then you guys can ask some questions at the end. Just type them in the chat, and if you wanted to, you could type them in the chat now. Or if there's something you guys want to see again, please type it in the chat. But let's just get through the rest of these slides. There's only a couple more left, and then we can kind of open it up for questions. But where or when does inventory transfers work? So as I mentioned, I have seen a variety of different customers use this in a variety of different ways. From importing, we have a handful of people that import products from overseas, and what they will do is they will actually use the transfer as the location of the ship that this product may be on or this purchase order may be on, and they actually use that transfer button to transfer module to transfer the inventory from manufacturer overseas. Pharma, the way this is used really primarily in pharma is one, transferring products from one warehouse to another, but also for quarantine. So in our pharma application, we do have a status. I know this may not pertain to everybody, but we do have a status for lots. I guess this goes for anybody that uses lots. We do have a status called quarantine, which is what some people use, but a lot of people will transfer any quarantined product or product they don't want to sell to a quarantine warehouse. This is a great way to put it in a different warehouse that may have different locations. So in your main warehouse, you may have locations a certain way, but you may have this other location, quarantine, that you label a different way. Kind of like the example I was providing earlier, you may have a customer where you want to pull all product from a specific location, and you could make that a specific warehouse with its own specific locations. Food and beverage, transferring quarantine works there as well. If you were drop shipping or using a 3PL, and you were maybe sending product to this 3PL, and you wanted to keep track of the inventory that was in this 3PL warehouse, that's another way where you would use transfers. You're just sending it to a different location. And like I said, don't think of this as actually having to be a physical location. It's really just where you want to put your inventory and what location you want to put your inventory in. So we went over how to use the module, when you can use the module. If you're moving from location to location, you wouldn't want to use inventory adjustment to decrease inventory in one location and increase it. It would be way better to use a transfer. We talked about the different ways you can use transfer in terms of intercompany, whether it's for quarantine, things like that. Where to find documentation and training videos. I know I have stressed this to some of you guys that are on this call, but I cannot stress it enough because it really is very helpful. Even when you have new employees, everything. If you click on this help icon, when you are logged into the ERP and you just come here and come to transfer, we can do how to transfer inventory between warehouses. So there is a video on this. And then there's also documentation on this, how the lots work, how serial numbers work, creating your transfer status, right? If you guys don't want the statuses, if you would like to change your statuses, I could be wrong here. I very much could be, but we'll double check. most of the time your statuses are all in system parameters. So if you want to change the status of the transfers, if you want to have different meanings, I believe you can. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. You can see you can add your statuses in system parameters just like you can add for purchase orders or sales orders. And you can make them to whatever you want them to be for your organization. But this help icon, inventory transfers, this will teach you everything that I've basically shown you now. If you want to print reports on it, what reports you get, how to print those, we went over that. Using the landed costs and understanding the way the records move. So that pretty much covers that. But this, yeah, help icon. Always hit the help icon for everything. I'm telling you, for everything, it's very helpful. We use it as employees because we also have internal documentation that we use for it, and it is so helpful. You can actually figure out most things around Blue Link. So we do have a promotion for the inventory transfers till the end of June. You need to email Joanne, let her know if this is something that you are interested in using. You do get, typically this is $199 per month for the first year of getting it. If you add it before the end of June, you get it for $169 per month. I think it's $169.15. $169.15. It's 15% off for the first year. So you get 15% off for the entire year of having the inventory transfer. So you definitely get a good deal there. All you have to do is email Joanne. I'm pretty sure all of you know who Joanne is. So you guys can email Joanne, just let her know you want the inventory transfer module. We also give you a free hour of training on this. So you'll get either myself or one of the other consultants to train on inventory transfer. And that what you really should utilize that time for is understanding how you want to use it and why you want to use it that way. And then kind of work with that consultant to actually utilize it for your organization. As much as you guys all want to think that you guys are the same type of company and you're not that unique, every one of our customers is unique and they have a unique situation. So it's you getting that whole hour to utilize that whole hour to its fullest potential. Come to that meeting knowing what at least your idea is. And then one of us consultants will be able to walk you through setting it up for your organization. Questions? I don't know if I saw anything in this chat. Does anybody have any questions or would like to see something again? I know we set this up for an hour. I wasn't anticipating it taking an hour, but if everybody's good or has any questions, yeah, go for it. Specific use case. And what we'll do. Oh yeah, X transfer. So let's go to, we're already in system parameters. And I'm just waiting for the other questions, but location. When we type in locations, you guys have all your locations here, right? So this is where you would set up your locations. You can set them up as specifically or as generic as you wish, add addresses. If you want to view that location on web, you can select that. You can basically add any location you want here by clicking new location. So if you want to add this location, you can. Right now, we're just going to be back out of here. But you have this X warehouse location, so this X transfer warehouse. And what this is solely just the place where the inventory resides while it is being transferred. So if we were to look at an item, so go ahead and look back at that item that we had up. And we go to locations here, it should technically, you can hide it if you want or display it, but this is where the inventory sits when it becomes in transit because it has to go somewhere. If some of you guys use the WMS feature, you understand the idea that inventory has to be somewhere at some point in time. And in order to do a transfer, while it's in between locations, it needs to be in this X transfer. Hope that answers that question. And way to hold me accountable. I appreciate it. Ooh, that's actually a good question. What about EPCIS data for pharmaceutical wholesale industry? Product. Sorry, I'm just making sure I understand this. And this might be one of those very specific questions where it would be easier to have some time. So somebody was asking about ordering from a 3PL. You're going to send the PO to a 3PL, and then you're going to have to receive the product. I guess this isn't specific enough for me to be able to answer this without asking more questions. But I would say no. I would receive, with this question you were posing to me, I would typically receive, I would just receive the purchase order is what I would do. Now, if you know what the 3PL inventory is, well, then you could technically keep it. You could create a location for this. As terms of EPCIS, though, let me go back to that one. EPCIS, that is solely just going to be ScanSet. You can see I don't have pharma on this. This isn't a pharma database that I have. But your EPCIS should technically be a purchase order, if I understand it correctly. That's a very good question, and I actually don't know the answer to that one. Lucas may be able to answer that question. But as far as I'm concerned, I believe that your EPCIS data is going to be a PO, and you're going to do it in ScanSet. And I don't believe ScanSet is associated to transfers. That's to answer that question. The 3PL one, yes, offline would be more helpful. If you'd like, I can email Joanne, and she can schedule time with a consultant just to go over to see if this would be a viable option in terms of what you're trying to do. But we can definitely set up time to discuss that. And then I see there's an accruals tab on the transfer screen. Yes, correct. That's exactly what it is. So a good way to think of the landed cost, a good way to think of the transfer, in all honesty, is it acts very similar to a purchase order. So let me go back to it. It works just like a purchase order. So the functionality is very similar, but instead of receiving it from vendor code this, what you're saying is I'm sending it from this location to this location. And so if we were to just create a new one real quick, create new, select our locations, create a transfer. We have our new transfer. Say we don't have that product in stock anymore. So say we take these plates, and these are in boxes, and we'll just take 2. 1. Only have 1 box left. So now that we have that, the accruals, this is going to function just like it does on a purchase order. You're going to select your factor. So it could be duty, freight, it could be PO freight, right? Say you actually are moving it across like the country to a different warehouse, and you have to pay a trucking company to do it. You could put it in as freight. You could put the trucking company as the vendor, and you can put the freight in for that. And if you had any landed costs when you received it into the initial location, that's already on there. And then what you can do is actually add accruals from your transfer as well if you wanted to. A lot of the times where we see this is with imported goods. So yes, you need to have whatever landed cost associated to the item. I hope that answers that. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, we do record these, and I believe these get sent out after the meeting. So you guys will be able to have access to the same webinar again. And like I said, reach out to Joanne. Joanne does a really good job of taking care of customers and getting you guys everything you need. Obviously, you guys work with us long enough. We're not very pushy, I would say. I would say sometimes we take a little too long, but that's okay. But we'll work with you. If you guys want to talk with a consultant before actually going forward with this, you can. And reach out to Joanne if you guys have any more questions. Other than that, if there's no more questions, you guys, thanks for joining it. I hope it was helpful. Hope it was insightful. I hope it can at least help one of you guys with your organization and improve your organization. So, you guys enjoy yourself.